life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. But so many people look at it as life, oh, this happened to me, and they get stuck in that low vibration, negative spiral of decay. It doesn't serve them, but if you shift it to, that happened for me. What is the gift in it? What can I take away? How can I use this to become better or stronger or smarter or faster or more powerful? It happened for me, not to me. It all happened for my greater good.
I'm Luke, and you're listening to the Luke Mind Power Podcast. Welcome back, guys. Hope you're doing amazing. This is a special episode because I've got someone super extraordinary and special with us today. Her name is Mandy White Eskelin, and she's an entrepreneur. She is a gut health expert, mental wellness, and a speaker as well. But she has already been on the Luke Mind Power podcast, episode 51, right? And this is someone who believed in me when I was just starting this journey, and so it's amazing to have you with us again, Mandy. So welcome back to the Luke Mind Power podcast.
Wow, I'm so honored. And you know what? I'm so inspired by your growth, Luke, and to watch your journey and be a tiny part in your journey. Honestly, it is such an honor to be back on here with you. And I'm so excited to get the chance to reconnect and really chat because you are just crushing it. You're impacting lives, and you told me about that vision that you had 4+ years ago. And you know what? To see you manifest it, to see it come to real life, it is so heartwarming and so touching for me because I want you to win. I want all my friends to win, and you have such a special place in our heart.
Thank you, Mandy. I appreciate that. The one thing that happens when you grow, especially when you grow into like more influence and your audience gets bigger and stuff like that, is that you can let your ego get the better of you. And then all the people that were there for you when you first started and you had, 4,000 or whatever followers, it's easy for you to go, I'm on another level, so I don't need to talk to those people anymore. And it's like, don't forget where you started, and that's why I wanted to reconnect with you as well, because, you inspired me a lot, and we connected many times back in 2019. We did Instagram lives together. I remember being in Wisconsin, and we did an Instagram live together. But
that's right.
To stay connected with you and to have you on the podcast again. And also, I mean, there's a lot of success and growth that you've gone through in the last 4 years as well. I've seen you on stage as well, and you guys don't stop, right? But it's just amazing because it really shows you become who you surround yourself with, and the people that you keep in your life, in your close proximity, they change your life. They inspire you, motivate you, and even though we haven't met physically, which I think it's in the process, manifesting it when I come to California for my event, that's going to be extraordinary. But what's changed? How have things evolved for you in the last 4 years? What's been happening?
Oh my gosh, I don't know that I really know where to start, to be honest. When we met, we've connected, and maybe we've been on different paths over the last 4 years, but I've always felt that connection with you, and I cherish true friendships like that, because to me, it's not about whether we've met in person or not. It's about what is that connection, and we both have a very similar vision to impact lives. We're just doing it in different vehicles. And when I met you, my husband and I, we were in a network marketing company, and to be completely honest, I learned so much there. I was there for 2 years. I realized and it's not a victim statement. I didn't have the leadership, the duplication, there was a lot of things missing, but you know what? It was my greatest growth, right? Because I got to look at that and go, okay, I don't want to be that kind of leader. Okay, you know what? My team is not winning. How can I find something where I can really, it's that perfect fit vehicle to get me and all of the people that I'm taking with me, into the same place. And that was such a growth time in my life when I met you. We had just started, but we knew that we had such a passion for helping people. And right around that time was when Sami and I actually retired from training clients all together at the gym. We only have one private client each, our celebrity clients. But we knew we wanted to be away from the gym. We wanted the time freedom with our family. We wanted to be able to impact people's lives. We just had to find the right platform to do it, and similar to you, you had that vision. It was just finding your right niche, right? And finding that platform. And you found it. And by the way, congratulations. And about 3.5 years ago, though, Sami and I made a huge, complete shift. It was scary. People talk about losing everything and starting all over. Well, we walked away from everything that we had built for 2 years and we chose to start all over. And it was very scary. There was a lot of unknowns that we were stepping into, but we just knew that we were being guided towards this path. And to be completely honest, now it's exactly where we want to be. And it's not about the success that we've created, but to me, it's about the success and fulfillment by helping others achieve success. And that is where I found so much in my heart. Wow, I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't know that I was going to be able to impact lives the way that I am now. And I do not take it lightly. I feel like there is a very big responsibility, for me and everything that we're doing. And now we get to help people with stress, anxiety, depression, all through the gut-brain axis, helping them produce more serotonin and dopamine in the body, which is our happy hormone. So this is where, we're at. And even through a global pandemic, we've been able to, impact tens of thousands of lives all around the world. And I'm so blessed and honored and really just grateful. I think that all of those other things were necessary in order to get us where we're meant to be. And all of those things were necessary for us to grow in who we were supposed to be. Does that make sense?
It does. It's powerful and it's inspiring. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday and we were on Instagram Live, and I said, we rise by lifting others. And you've achieved a certain level of success, and you say that, we're good like where we are. And so, and I'm thinking about it myself as well. It's like, is it about the self success within yourself that you've achieved this specific amount of, let's say financial security, right? But then what is the purpose of life? And it's like, well, become successful and then give your success away. Give it to someone, share it with people, right? And so there's fulfillment in that, because like with what I'm doing, right? It's like I've learned so much about life and about myself, and now I coach people to do the same. And, you've learned so much about gut health and, life in terms of your physical health and stuff like that, how to feel better, overcome depression, anxiety, all that stuff, right? And so to be able to witness that in people, that's crazy. Like, that's amazing, and it's something that, you can easily take for granted. I know it's happened to me. I get so unconsciously habitual in doing what I do that you sometimes forget what the hell you're doing. Like, you're changing people's lives. You're helping people. Like, people are changing their lives because they're working with you, right? And like, that's really, like, you can make millions and millions and millions of dollars, but is it fulfilling? What are you doing with that? Are you, when you're giving back, it's a different level. Knowing that your energy, your wisdom, your knowledge, your product is helping people change their lives. That's the game changer, because people can point the finger and be like, you've got this, or you only care about yourself or whatever, but not knowing that, you can become massively successful, but what are you doing with that success? And really, that's what I see is like, the more successful I become, the more I'm able to give back, the more I'm able to help. And that's really the purpose. It's not like you can sit here and go, I'm just going to build my wealth and just have all this money and money and money and money. But if you're not sharing it with the world, if you're not making a difference in other people's lives, and that's why it's like, in the service of giving is like, that's where the fulfillment is. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yes. Because you know what? There was a time, and maybe this resonates with you, there was a time where I was trying to pour from an empty cup. I hadn't grown into who I was supposed to be. But now that I feel so fulfilled, right? I feel so full. And it's not even the financial success that we've created. I feel so full of the lives that I've been able to impact. So now I'm giving from the overflow. I'm giving from that abundance. And this, I believe, is truly one hand up, one hand down. The more people that we pull up, the others are pulling us up, and then it goes down. And this is where we rise together, because we're helping other people up, pulling them up along the way. And we're able to give from that overflow. And that's the abundance. And I found so much fulfillment in that, in being able to give from that space instead of from, well, what's in it for me? Or I need to get there first before I can give to other people. And now it's just a completely different mindset of being able to give this way, and then the fulfillment that comes back. Because I believe that we are financially, and not even just financially, we are rewarded in direct proportion for the number of lives that we impact. I just happen to do it through gut, and you happen to do it through the mind, and they both work together. They're actually a two-way communication. But it's about us being able to give in that abundance and pull people up and give unconditionally, knowing that I'm taken care of. The universe, God, is taking care of me. I know that. And then you're giving from a different place instead of that scarcity or what's in it for me first.
So thanks for sharing that. I'm hearing you, and it makes complete sense. So the last interview that we did was episode 51 on the Luke Mind Power podcast. And actually it was you with Sami as well. Sami, your husband. And you guys work together, right? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We still do.
So tell us, how do you find that balance in your lifestyle and relationship as well? Because I know for some people it's like, it's healthy for you to be apart. It's healthy for you to work in different industries and then come together, and have a balance in your relationship. How do you find that with your relationship with Sami?
I love that, because when we did that first one, we had just started working together, not outside of the gym, right? Like in the gym, he had his clients, I had my clients that we would train, but working together in a full-time capacity from home, it definitely took some adjusting. No joke. We definitely butted heads, but here's what we learned is we learned to respect our differences. We learned to establish boundaries. We learned to communicate differently, and we both learned he is not my boss and I'm not his. And we are very clear, with our business partners. If they're like, hey, is Sami available for this call? I'm like, I don't know. You got to ask him, because we've learned, and this definitely took some adjusting and arguments and headbutting. But I'm not his secretary. He's not mine. And when we started to honor that and understand, hey, I know that I'm great here and he is great and his strengths lie in this area, we honor those. And then we lean on each other for those. And to be completely honest, our relationship has deepened so much in every way, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in every way, working together, because you're kind of forced to, right? I know there's people that are like, oh my gosh, I could never work with my spouse. And now, to be honest, I could never see myself working without my spouse, because we're such a powerful team. And I believe in synergy. I believe in, it's not, 1 + 1 = 2. I believe in 1 + 1 = 3. And when we work together and create synergy, whether it's in my relationship with my spouse or we do this in our business, we are more powerful and we have so much more synergy. Now, he still goes to the gym by himself. I go, maybe go to dinner with my girlfriends or have a girl. We still have that time apart, but we love, love, love our time together. And it's deepened so much more with us working together over the last 4+ years. It's just changed who we are and how we communicate and boundaries. And it may not be for everybody, but we realize, look, the first 5 years of our relationship, we were both trainers working 8 to 10 hours a day. He had a job at night in the service industry. I would come home, handle all the meal plans for our clients. We never got to see each other. So for us, it was like we are happy and blessed that we actually get to work together and get to spend that. We're together probably 23 hours a day. And it's just so different. It's just so, I don't know. It's just hard to put words on it.
But there's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's about balance. So,
yeah.
And again, at the same time, everyone's different too. Mm-hmm. Some people need their space. I know I do. You know, I need my space, man. If you need my space too much, I'll speak it. You know, you have to have that ability to communicate with what you need. You know, to be able to respect each other in a relationship. And I think that's the one key in relationships that. And I've learned just with even, you know, new friendships that I've evolved into recently, that the one thing that I'm finding myself doing is communicating really transparently.
Yeah.
This is what I need. This is who I am. This is what I expect. This is how I am. And if you can't respect that, then I don't have space for you in my life. You know, and it's just having that kind of like straight up communication. Like if you want a direct answer, ask a direct question. And I think that there's too much fluff going around with people, and the lack of like confidence of self-worth. And we're living in this fear of like, oh, don't speak your truth because then that person might leave you or you'll be rejected. And we don't like to feel rejection. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but you have to respect yourself. The way that you treat yourself, the way you respect yourself is how you teach others to treat you and respect you as well. So it's really having self-confidence and self-worth in who it is that you are, so that the people that you have in your proximity, they know like that you know who you are, right? That's powerful. You know what I mean? And that is where you get more respect, because you're like, nah, man, Mandy knows who she is. Like she's owning that. And that's attractive, right? Versus you kind of dimming your light or not speaking up.
No, and I'm with you. And that's something that I really learned. I used to 4 to 5 years ago, I shrank who I was in order to not step on someone's toes or not offend anyone, or, you know what, I probably shouldn't say that. And I feel like I wasn't honoring who I really was, right? Like I was not being respectful and honoring me. And at the same time, I was discovering more about who I really am. And I feel like now at 48 years old, I know who I am and who I'm not. And I'm not going to dim my light for anybody. Now, it took me a long time to get there. And people are at different points in their journey, but I really know that now more than I ever have in my entire life. And I'm not going to dim my light, and I'm not going to worry about what other people think, or am I going to offend someone, and let me not post that on social media because they might think this or that. I'm not apologizing for who I am. This is who I am, and I'm going to stand in my power. And I want to show other women how they can do the same thing and stand in their power. Now, that doesn't mean be offensive or, you know, but it's like, no, that's not okay with me, or that's unacceptable, or, hey, you know what? I'm married. Please respect that. And if somebody can't respect that, I don't need people like that in my life. I am happy in the skin that I'm in. I'm happy with my heart, my vision, my passion, my purpose. And I think that also attracts more people, right? Like that attracts people. Like you said, people are attracted to that.
Yeah, that's why everybody who's listening right now should go and follow Mandy. I'm serious. Like this is, if you don't have confidence, if you don't have self-worth, if you don't have self-esteem, if you don't have that feeling within yourself that you really know yourself, well, get around people who do.
Yes.
And if you can't be with them physically, follow them on social media. Like it's get around people who have what you want. That's why you get a coach. That's why you get a mentor. That's why you surround yourself with specific type of, that's why you go to networking events. That's why you go to freaking conferences and shit, because you want to get around people who are taking action and who are living a life or aspiring to live a life that you would like to live, you know? So that's the next question. How do you continue to level up? What do you do? How do you continue to grow and to keep expanding your mind and getting out of your comfort zone? Like, do you have a network of people who are like 10 steps ahead of you that you surround yourself with, that inspire you and show you that, hey, you guys are doing this, but this is what's possible?
Yes, all of that. And I feel like we're always a student. I am never arrived. I've never arrived. The day that I've arrived is the day that I'm in the ground, to be completely honest. So I feel like we always get to be the student, right? We get to, it's not we have to, we get, and it's a shift in that mind, right? Of that we have a privilege of getting to be a student and learning and growing constantly. And I do think it's so extremely powerful to surround yourself with that. Find people, like you said, who have what you want. Do what they do, because first of all, success leaves clues. Success leaves a blueprint. And that was what we saw about 3.5 years ago. And we're like, I love what they're doing. I love how they're helping others. I love the success that they're creating for other people. I love how they're leading people with their heart. I love how they're living a life of true freedom and abundance and contribution. And I'm like, I want that. I want that. And that is who I decided to follow. And that's when Sami and I made a huge shift in our business. And I couldn't be more grateful that we did. And since then, we're always surrounding ourselves with 7, 8 figure earners. And that is the honest truth. And sometimes, someone told me this: never be the smartest person in the room. Never be the smartest person in the room. So I choose to surround myself with people that have done it all, 100 times better than me. They're smarter than me. They've done. Why? Because I get to learn from them. And I feel like I've just become a sponge when I'm around people like that. And there's a saying that you surround yourself with 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th. And the same thing goes on the other side. If you are, not if, you are a reflection of the 5 closest people to you. And so a few years ago, we took an inventory of who do we have around us? Do we want to be like that? Do they have what we want? And to be honest, we divorced some friends. And I know that might sound really harsh, but we get to protect our energy. We get to protect, who we have around us, because if that's a reflection of me, I do not want that person in my life. And I choose not to have people like that in my life. Now, I do choose to open up and show people what's possible, just like others have done for me in the last 3.5 years, because we do feed off of each other. And I know that it's always about being a student. It's how can I get better? Like, for instance, this weekend, I'll share this. Not buying into someone's limiting beliefs, programs, whatever you want to call them, limiting beliefs. Some things that we've learned throughout our childhood. I did an amazing course, and I've personal development is a lot for me, because I've always want to figure out, okay, how can I get better? How can I think better? How can I grow even more and evolve into, that next version of Mandy? And, one of our business partners this weekend, she was having trouble receiving, right? Like there was this beautiful opportunity presented to her, and she felt like she didn't deserve it. So she was self-sabotaging herself, and I flat out told her with all the love in my heart, I'm like, I'm having an argument with your limiting belief. I'm not going to play in your pity party. I love you. When you're ready to shift out of that, let's have an adult conversation. And she wasn't mad at me. She was just so in her head about not being deserving, and I knew that if I bought into her limiting belief, it wasn't going to serve her to grow. It was not going to serve her to move into that next phase for herself. And I have mentors, and I'm very blessed to have people like that do that with me. And I want to help other people do that same thing. And then she shifted and she's like, thank you so much for not. She's like, I was really realizing that, because of things I was told in my marriage, that I'm not worthy of these type of things and gifts and opportunities. And it was a great lesson for me, because I got to see, had I not grown and got to experience those things, I wouldn't have been able to coach her through that moment. I would have been like, oh, okay, I totally understand. And then I would have allowed her to play small. And I didn't do that because I care so much, and I care so much about people, that I'm not going to, have that argument or that conversation with a limiting belief that's not supporting her and her goals and her big vision. And as soon as she snapped out of it, she literally came and she gave me the biggest hug and said, thank you. Thank you, because I realized that I was sabotaging myself. And I had mentors like that. And so I love being able to help people, just something so small like that. Because most people will be victim to their past, or, they'll be like, oh, well, I don't deserve it. I'm going to step away. And I'm like, no, you deserve this. You deserve this. And you deserve the success, and you deserve everything. You deserve your dreams. Are you willing to play big and go after them? Or do you want to play small and settle? And to me, having mentors like that, like you said, go find yourself a mentor. Go find yourself someone who has that confidence, who has that posture, who has the true love and care, because I don't get anything out of that other than one other human being that I got to help break through that in her mind. And to me, that was one of the biggest gifts that I received this weekend, was the opportunity to do that for someone else.
If you're the smartest person in the room, and I feel like that, I feel like in my environment right now with the people that I have, I feel like I am, apart from my business coach, I feel like I am at the top. And if I'm at the top, then I can't learn from anyone. You know, I can't be more inspired by other people. And so my move to Dubai is the purpose of surrounding myself with people who are on way higher than me, because that's going to give me a different level of thinking and more possibilities, more connections, you know. So that's where I feel like it's crazy how it had happened. Like, it happened a couple of weeks ago where I wasn't feeling the best, and I just had this week of reflection, you know. And I've been living in this house since November, end of November. It's a beautiful house. You know, I've been having to like process and check myself, because it's a huge house. There's a pool. It's a beautiful garden. You know, I've got my birds in the back, and it's 2 stories, and it's huge. And it's like, I had to check myself, because I'm like, are you being not grateful? You know, are you being ungrateful for like what you've achieved and where you're living? Right. And I was like, but no, I'm sitting out the back, and I'm like, look at these beautiful trees, and this it's like an oasis, right? Palm trees. And I'm like, no, I'm really grateful, but I know that I can't stay here. It's like I'm so deeply intuitively connected to my soul that when it speaks, I move, you know? And so within the last like couple of weeks, it's just bang, 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 take action, take action, take action. What do I need to do? You know, and you know, I'm traveling tomorrow to the Philippines, and then I'm going to Dubai. But it's like, if you're not tuned in to your calling, then you can easily be in your own way, right? It's like, there's a quote that says, no weapon, I think it's in the Bible, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. This is another quote that I've seen on Instagram, and I love it, because it's basically reverting it back to you. So it's, make sure that you are not the weapon formed against yourself for the reason why you're not prospering. I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, make sure you're not the one that's in your own way, because you're surrounding yourself with people who are not on a higher vibrational frequency than you. And I'm like, I love to help people, my family, my close friends, but I also have to take care of me. And I feel like I need a new environment. I need to surround myself with people on a higher level than me. And so I'm taking action, right? Because if you don't take that action, guess what? You can be limiting yourself severely, right? So yeah, you've watched me over the last 4 years grow. And I actually remember you guys changing your company that you're working with and starting fresh. And I'm like, that's probably one of the hardest things to do, is to start fresh, or to even just to start something new, right? It's the overwhelming feeling. It's the amount of information. It's the new processes, new people, new ways of delivery of the product, or whatever it is that you're doing, or the program that you're starting, right? If you're working with someone, like, for example, you'd be proud of me, I have a personal trainer now, right? But I couldn't afford that. This is an investment in myself. Before, I couldn't afford that, but now I can. Why am I doing that? Because I want to become a better version of myself, because I know that I can push harder, but I'm not, because you only have certain limits when you go to the gym by yourself. Whereas now, I don't have a choice, Mandy. When we have our appointments booked in, I got to go. I'm tired, or I want to go to sleep. Nah, man, get in the car and go. So I'm doing stuff that I'm not used to doing, which is pushing me to a next level. And I'm feeling better. I'm feeling amazing, you know, and I'm feeling more energy, you know. And so the part of success, this is the challenge. Like, over the last 5 years for me, there's so many lessons. And I was saying this to my clients on a Zoom call yesterday, and I was like, one of the reasons why people don't succeed is because they don't start, or they're afraid to be seen at the bottom, or the journey gets so overwhelming in the first couple of years that they just give up. But it's in this process that there's so many things to learn. Like I've gotten to this level now and I'm just like, I'm inspired because who I'm going to be in 12 months time is going to be even a greater, better version of myself. But now I feel like I'm getting momentum. Now I feel like I'm getting more mental clarity. Now I feel like I'm getting more discipline. Now I feel like I'm getting more responsible because I know I'm leading this freaking ship and I can't afford to be down the bottom playing pool or in the slot machines or, hanging out and talking to all the people. I got to be on deck, like with the freaking steering wheel and at the top of the ship with the other co-pilots because I've got so much responsibility. And if I get distracted, man, I'm going to hit the freaking iceberg like the Titanic did. Is that the same thing for you? Are you getting better and better and better as you've not given up and persevered? Like you're learning more about what you need to do, how you're showing up, where your energy's going, how to stay on a high vibration?
Yes, absolutely. And I love that. I really love what you're saying because it is. I could have settled and said, no, I'm good here, right? Like this is fine. This is as good as it's going to get. But I knew in my gut, I knew in my soul that I was being called for something bigger, right? And I knew it. And as scary as it was to make that shift, we knew that we had to do it. And Sami and I were on the same page at the exact same time. We knew that this was the decision that we had to make for us, right? And that as scary as it is not knowing, right? As scary as it was with the fear and blocking people's words and opinions out, we chose to up-level ourselves. And I am so grateful that we did. Doesn't take away the scariness, doesn't, the fear. We walked through the fear. There were times where we crawled, but it doesn't matter. We still kept going and we didn't let other people's opinions, we didn't let other people's limiting beliefs change where we knew that we wanted to go. But it took us years to even get to that point to be able to block that out. And I think a lot of people get stuck way over here. Before they even start, they're like, oh, I could never do anything like that. I'm too afraid. Or you know what? I'm just going to stay working my 9 to 5 because that's what our parents taught us. But just like technology changes, right? Technology changes and evolves. If you have the first version of the iPhone, it's obsolete now. You can choose to still use it, but it probably won't work. It's the same thing with us. We have to evolve with everything going on. I mean, I think we all had to learn how to pivot when, the lockdowns happened just over 3 years ago. We had to, and there were people that didn't pivot. And those are the people, unfortunately, that were left behind and felt stuck versus going, okay, if I can't do that, where else am I going to go? What are my other options? Like, I need to make something happen now. And even through all of that, we had just changed companies. It was like 5 months and the lockdowns happened. And that was a scary time, but we're like, all right, what do? We got to figure this out. You know what? What can we do? We can work online. So instead of looking at what we couldn't do or what we didn't have, we looked at what can we do? Where do we still want to go? And I believe that the universe will put those opportunities and start lining things up when you have clarity as to where you're going. And a lot of people even lack that clarity. Like, I don't even know where to go right now. I don't know where to start, but you got to start somewhere and failing forward. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, what else can I try? And people are so afraid of fear. And John C. Maxwell, I love him. And I love his trainings because he says, people are afraid of that failure. But if you talk to the most successful people, they keep their failure and their success very close together. Because you can't have one without the other. And people get so paralyzed by the fear of failing, more so than the fear of success, but then they don't do anything. And to me, it's like, okay, it's either I win or I learn, right? And if I learn something, how can I make it better? How can I do better? So being able to keep that failure and success really close together to remind me, hey, here's where I came from. I never want to go back there. But if I'm going to keep doing this, what can I keep learning to keep those success and the failures? They're parallel to each other and really close. People are like, oh, I don't want to talk about that past where I failed and I lost my business and I lost all of this, where really the more that you talk about it, you find the gifts in it, and the gifts are going to help you keep succeeding. And to me, I love that analogy. Like, don't be afraid. I would be more afraid to not fail and to stay stuck where I am than to fail and learn and grow and fail and learn and grow. And eventually that success is going to meet up with me.
Yes. There's so much power that you're sharing with us, Mandy. Thank you so much for being authentic. You know, you mentioned not worrying about people's opinions of you and not dimming your light and all that kind of stuff. And the truth is that being authentic is going to come with people judging you and people giving you their opinions. It's inevitable. Like, even if you're trying to be humble, like I've learned that being yourself, and you can be overconfident, but that's somebody's opinion. Like Cristiano Ronaldo, every time he scores a goal, he goes to the corner and he does this stand. And you can easily look at him and go, he thinks he's the best. He thinks he thinks he's too good. But the thing is, he is the best. He is amazing. He is extraordinary, right? But it's so easy for you to judge, you know, and the truth is we can't really run away from that because people are going to judge regardless. So do what you want to do, because even if you don't do what you want to do, guess what? People are still going to have an opinion about you, right? Whether you're doing something big or whether you're doing something small, people are always going to say something. So you might as well do whatever you want.
I agree wholeheartedly. And you know how you're changing your environment and going to Dubai. Like I was thinking back, like 22 years ago, I left where I was born and raised in Louisiana. I love my roots. I'm proud of my roots. I got the reminder every single day that I'm anchored in my roots. But I knew that I had to choose to surround myself with other people. I knew that there was a bigger calling. And it was in my gut. And I actually just spoke on stage this weekend about the gut. And we have over 500 million neurotransmitters in our gut. And our gut and our brain is connected through one main nerve called the vagus nerve. So sometimes we have that gut feeling or that nervousness that all comes, literally, it's from the neurotransmitters in our gut communicating to our brain. And people will get that feeling and then they'll back away. You know, instead of like, no, pushing through it, I hear it, I honor it. You know what? I'm not going to let that stop me because people are going to talk. People still talk. And you know what? Hey, I honestly, I love them, but I don't care. Like, as long as I lay my head on that pillow and I do right by myself, you know, my creator, my family, my husband, and I'm impacting the world and doing good and leaving a legacy, I feel good about that. And it doesn't matter what other people think. Even if people watching this are like, oh, she's cocky. No, I'm not cocky. It took me a long time to get to this person. It took me a long time to find and discover this person in the process. And I say that with love. Like, I get to look myself and my creator, you know, in the mirror and every single day. And to me, I'm honoring that. And I just want to serve, you know, and I just want to help people. And if somebody has something to say about that, that's their loss. But I also, have you ever heard the analogy of the lighthouse and the tugboat?
Tell me.
So I heard this a couple of years ago and it really stuck with me because for me, a lot of times it was like a tugboat does what? It literally pulls the boat into the harbor. Yep. Literally, ropes, chains, all of it pulls the boat into the harbor. And then when the tugboat is done, they're done. But the lighthouse guides, right? The lighthouse doesn't beg. The lighthouse doesn't convince. The lighthouse doesn't drag. The lighthouse just stands there and shines its light. And it guides the boats into the harbor. It guides them in. And, you know, we can choose to be the tugboat and pull and have that resistance and that struggle, whether it's with yourself or with people in your life. Or you can be the lighthouse and just stand there, anchored into the ground, shining your light, knowing that by you being there, you are making that difference in the world, you know, and you're guiding people into where you are, guiding people into where they're supposed to be.
Yes. You know, Mandy, this is something I learned early on, is that my job and who I am, I don't even know if you want to consider it a job, but my intention is not to tell you what to do and force you either. Because I've learned that Some people are not ready for change. Some people you may communicate with and think, you know what, I really want to help them. I want to see them successful. I want to see them grow. This is the right way. This is what's working for me. I really need to tell this person. I need to help them so that they can come with me. And what I've learned is that not everybody's on your frequency. Not everybody can hear what you're saying or appreciate it because they don't have your story. They don't feel what you feel. And so now I have less resistance. It's like the saying, don't chase, attract, right? You attract that because of your leadership, because of your example, because of how grounded you are in who you are and your confidence. So you are beaming with that good energy, right? And people look at you and go, I want some of that. What are you doing? And that's being the lighthouse. It resonates with me. It makes sense, It's like what I say all the time is that if you're listening to this and you're watching this, you have greatness within you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. And it's like, well, how do I know that? Because if you're watching this and listening to it and resonating with what myself or Mandy is saying, then you have that within yourself, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be able to feel it or resonate with it. But it's doing the work on yourself to actually activate that full power. Because the truth is, I'm not for everyone and everyone's not for me. But if you're vibing with something and it makes sense, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel that. And I've heard this so many times, Mandy, people saying, it sounds like you're talking exactly directly to me. I feel like when I listen to you, you're speaking to me personally. It's like, yeah, you're resonating. Your soul is resonating with it because you have the power in yourself as well. But one thing that I wanted to talk about with you, Mandy, is fitness. And also one thing as well I wanted to quickly share with you before we go into that, because I know that you're a bodybuilder, right? You were on stage. You did what is it, IBFF?
WBFF Fitness Pro. I won my pro card 11 years ago and then placed third in the world at the pro level. I haven't competed in a while.
Damn, you're given some synchronicities here as well. You just, like, one thing I've so many times has happened to me when I'm working with new clients, and they're like telling me their story, and they're like, yeah, 22 years ago I got married, or my daughter's 22, or something 22, right? And you just said, 22 years ago I moved. And then you said now 11, and 22, 11 plus 11 is 22. 22 is my power number. These things it's in my reticular activating system, but it's also signs for me, again, confirmation, right? Going in the right direction, right? I'm in alignment. But recently what I've started to do, and I feel like it's really working and it makes complete sense. The less you eat, the healthier you are, because you give your body time to process and to not be constantly working. And so what I've tried to do over the last few days, and it's working for me really well, I feel good, is just to have one meal a day. So I'll still have a coffee, have a banana, but I mean a proper meal. One meal a day. And that way I'm not, because the one thing that we do so much, and obviously I'm talking to you about this because, you talk about gut health and obviously, the products that you sell, and it makes a difference what you put in your gut, right? Your gut is your second brain.
Yep, it is.
But I'm saying, like, give yourself a break so that your body can digest and process, and so that it's not always working. And so what I'm finding is that eating once a day, I'm not as tired, because when you've always got food in your body, what's your body doing? It's churning energy, right? It's like the fuel in a big cruise ship. Like, it's constantly, like, the propellers are moving all the time, and now all of a sudden, you're giving yourself a break, and so the propellers have slowed down, and now you're actually able to to function properly without feeling tired. So I just wanted to touch on that. How have you maintained your energy levels, and what are your secrets to your amazing health?
Well, thank you, first of all. And I'm glad that you're listening to your body, because there are so many different things out there. And one of the things that Sami and I, now it's a little bit different than what you do, is we teach people how to eat to balance blood sugar. Because when your blood sugar is balanced between 80 and 120, throughout the day, you actually have more energy, less cravings. Your body is keeping muscle and burning fat. And so we teach people a little bit different than what you're doing. But if you found something that works for you, and it doesn't matter when you're out there, if it's working for you, great. But if you feel stuck, I just had a conversation with one of our amazing team members. She's from Nigeria. She's like, Mandy, I only eat one meal a day and I've gained 16 pounds over the last couple of months. And I said, you know what? It's because you're not eating enough. Because what happens, and if you're not there yet, that's okay. But this is the opposite side, where her body is starting to shut down. And what's happening is her body doesn't trust her. It's like, oh, okay, I don't know when you're going to feed me again, so I'm going to store all of this as fat. And that's exactly what her body is doing, and it's showing up like that for her. So we're going back to her eating small meals balanced with protein, fats, and carbs every 3 to 4 hours so we can keep her blood sugar here. She said right now with her eating one meal a day, her cravings are through the roof and her energy levels are crashed. And then she's holding on to and gaining weight actually. And she's like, but I'm only eating one meal a day. How can I be gaining weight? And I'm like, that's exactly why. So we want to get you back to where you're eating small amounts because her metabolism has slowed down. And when you eat every 3 to 4 hours, your body is like, oh, cool. I trust you. Okay, let me burn this off. Okay, another meal's coming. Let me burn this off. Well, guess what? It does take energy, but that's also where the catabolic energy creates the thermogenic effect in your body and starts to burn fat and keep muscle. And so that's where we are with how we coach people on nutrition is I eat about 5 small meals a day, protein, fat, and carb on my plate 5 to 6 times a day, depending on how many meetings I have, how long I'm up. But that's what works for me, and that's how we coach. If that's working for you, Luke, I think it's amazing. And there may be a time that, yeah, maybe your body, listening to your body intuitively, that this is what your body is needing, that little break. But maybe it's going to go, you know what? It's starting to change to a way that I don't necessarily like the results. Well, let me go back to something else, right? And so listening to your body is key, and finding what works for you, finding what feels good for you. Because here, yes, your gut is your second brain. I'm going to tell you something really cool. You ready for this? Did you know that when you are an embryo, your brain and your gut are one? Your brain and your gut are one when you're an embryo. And then as you start turning into a fetus, they begin to separate. And you have your brain and your gut, but it's connected by that vagus nerve. And so listening to your body is absolutely do it. But if you're not getting the results that you want, do something different, right? And it's the same thing that we coach people outside of there. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but expecting a different result, whether it's in our business, our life, or even with our bodies. And so that's really a key takeaway is listen to your body. But if you're doing the same thing and you're not getting the results that you want, then you have to change something. And so you've changed into this is what you're feeling is working for your body and you're liking how you feel. I love that. I want people to do what feels good and makes you happy. But if it starts to revert, then let's talk and let's figure out how can we get your body to trust you again and to keep the muscle and burn fat. Keep muscle, burn fat is the goal. And so that's just the premise of where we teach from is eating those smaller meals so that your body does. Okay, she's going to feed me again. I got to burn this off. And what creates a thermogenic effect in our body and starts burning fat, which is where we've been. And Sami and I are both very much on the same level. I mean, he might eat at different times in the day, but we still eat the same way because of our calls and meetings. But that's for us, even at 48, going into menopause, that has been working for me. So I feel like this works for me. I'm going to stick with what works and what feels good for me. But again, I think there's so many things out there. And we try to also break people from that diet mentality, that I can't eat that, I'm afraid of carbs, that deprivation mindset, because I feel like when we give our bodies what it needs, then our body's going to do what it's meant to do. And that's to keep that muscle and to burn the fat. So we teach a little different. However, I just want to say to you, if that feels good for you, Luke, I'm cheering you on. And I'm happy that you found something that feels good for you.
It's trial and error. It's everybody's different, but
Yes.
I've seen a lot of information about fasting and giving your stomach a break.
Yeah. The digestion a break. Yes.
Yeah.
It absolutely has been.
That's the basis of what because if you're constantly putting, and the truth is, like, if your diet is not perfect, which is probably one of the most challenging things for many people out there, because we are bombarded with takeaway food and easy access food that isn't the healthiest. It's too easy these days to go out and get food. And so when you're constantly consuming that, right, you're stepping more and more away from nature, from really healthy food that we should be eating. And so there's the discipline that is really the hardest part. And I'm like, if you can be disciplined with your food, then you can conquer anything in your life. But I think that's one of probably the hardest things for people to do, But the fitness side of things, like you're talking about that lady that is only eating once a day, but she's put on weight. I'm curious to know whether she has a fitness schedule and whether she exercises, because for me, I'm training every day, and it's intense, so I'm pushing myself. But if you're not someone who exercises, then I could appreciate that more.
Yeah. And she does exercise. I think it's more so you're talking men and women. We have different hormones, right?
Sure.
And so that plays a key role for us is those hormones, and unfortunately, as we age as women, it's definitely been something that I've learned to embrace a lot more. It does change, and then we have to change and adapt with it, because what worked for me 10, 11 years ago when I was competing would not work for my body now. My body does not like that deprivation. I live the 80-20 rule. Trust me. I by all means, I am not perfect with my nutrition, but I've learned that over the years of what worked for me back then does not work for me now. And our bodies change and our lives change and our lifestyle changes and our hormones change. And we get to change and adapt and evolve with that and finding those things that do work for us. Because again, it's kind of showing you the polar opposite. It works for you, but it's not working for her. So it's really about people finding something that they know that they can do forever. And we train on 3 questions answered. Number 1, is it based in science? Is fasting? Yes, I wholeheartedly believe in it. Fasting is based in science, right? Number 2, could you do it forever? And number 3 is, would you put your kids on it? Because a lot of people are like, let me take all these diet pills and that sort of thing, and that is not healthy. Would you do that to your kids, right? Or so for me, it's when you think about those things, we get to do it differently. Or if it works for you, keep doing it. And that's the whole thing, is keep doing what works and what feels good and makes your body feel good, because this is our vessel that was gifted to us, and we get to honor it. But again, if you feel good and it's making you happy and it's working for you and getting results, then that's all you need to worry about. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Mandy, do you drink alcohol?
Yeah. Wine and tequila are my 2. Yeah, I do. I live the 80-20 a lot.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm just, thanks for being authentic, because you could have easily sat there and gone, oh shit, I want to tell people that I drink alcohol, because, people can look at you in a specific way and say, well, she's this person and she promotes gut health and she's a fitness guru and trainer and all that kind of stuff. So she can't. But I was asking that because I believe in balance. I believe that, and I also believe in being controlled. Not allowing. This is one thing I'm really passionate about. Nothing external to control me.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I can imagine in your space, networking events, there's always something going on, and to be able to have that control. And flexibility as well to know, like, hey, this is something. And I know we always kind of attach alcohol, for example, to a celebration, right? Celebrating a specific milestone or whatever it is, and you're at a party and stuff like that. So to be able to control, right, after you've had a glass of wine, that, or two, that, hey, that's enough for me, right? Because I think that's the challenge. It's like having the one is cool, having the second one, but then after you have the second one, you're a little bit more easily influenced to go, okay, I'll have another one, right? So there's a lot of discipline there, but you know what I believe as well, Mandy? It comes to priorities. It comes to importance, right? It comes to, what am I doing tomorrow? Knowing that, because I know if I go on and have 10 shots of vodka or tequila, the next day my energy is going to be a bit lower. I'm not going to be feeling as powerful as I would. So what kind of priorities do you have that are coming up for you, that you know that you need all of you? You need the best version of yourself. And in knowing that, same thing, you have a team, you have a business, you got responsibilities. So you can't afford to be letting your guard down and going, it's all good, I'll get over it. Is that the kind of way that you think as well?
I do. And, I believe in discipline. And I'm, like I said, I am not by any means preaching to be perfect with nutrition. I'm not. I believe with awareness comes responsibility. And for me, I believe everything in moderation, including moderation. But I know that it's about discipline. And discipline is just choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Maybe it's like, oh man, I really could use that second drink. But what I want most is to wake up tomorrow feeling refreshed. Again, discipline is just choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Maybe it's like, man, I really want that piece of pizza, but I want to feel good next week when I go on vacation in that bikini. What you want now is the pizza. What you want most is to feel confident. So which one is more important? And there's times, trust me, last night I got home, we got home from our event. I had sat on the couch with my amazing husband and had a glass of wine. I don't have that, I can't have any of that. Like, to me, I'm like, okay, cool. This is time for me to relax, recharge, soak in this weekend, and then wake up Monday and crush this week. Now, if I would have had a second or third or fourth glass, I probably wouldn't have been able to wake up and feeling so motivated. And so for me, it's that self-discipline and self-awareness of, what am I choosing? Do I want what I want now or what I want most? And 90% of the time in my life, maybe 80%, what I want most is going to win, because I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice if I don't give myself that 100%. And so it's like, it's fine. One glass is great. I'm going to enjoy every single sip. And my mouth is watering even thinking about that glass of wine right now, because I savored it, right? Like I savored that sip and I enjoyed it. And I didn't feel like, I'm just doing this to get trashed. Yeah. I actually enjoy the taste of it. And then we went to bed and I got up this morning ready to crush my day. And I love that feeling. Now there's times on the weekends where maybe it's a little bit different, but for me, that's just kind of how I work. And I feel like you got to listen to yourself. But if you think about what I want now, what I want most, you kind of have to look at that. And even 11 years ago when I was competing for my pro card, I just told this story actually earlier today. When I was competing for my pro card 11 years ago, friends would, here, have this, have a glass of wine, have this, have desserts, cake. And I easily said, no. And I never caved into that. Why? Because what I wanted most was my pro card, my WBFF pro card. There was no piece of cake, cookie, ice cream, alcohol, pizza, nothing was going to taste as good as this for me. And that's where I was. And so for me, I found that discipline it's the discipline of declining, and I could decline it and not feel bad about it. It's like, no, I'm good. Right? But it's just that choice that I chose to make. But I've taken that discipline and now I've applied that in other areas of my life, and do I want to sleep in, or do I want really, to hit that 7-figure mark this year? For me, I would much rather hit that 7-figure mark and impact more lives. So I'm not going to sleep in. So it's just choosing between what I want now and what I want most. And when you break down really things like that, it's like, it's kind of, sometimes you're going to choose what you want now, but when you really look at what you want most and then you're aiming for that and you're choosing based on that, whether it's your purpose, your vision, your whatever it is, your family, no matter what that is, it's whatever you want most will win most of the time, because it's going to help you choose differently.
You know what has helped me as well. And I heard Rick Ross. I don't know if you know who Rick Ross is. He's a rapper in the US. And he talked about like depression and like, what was it? Was it Rick Ross? Or yeah, anyway. No, 50 Cent. It was 50 Cent. And he talked about the responsibility of the game. Like when you're in the game, like in your success, you have responsibilities. You have appointments, you've got events, you've got bookings, you've got projects. And you don't have fucking time for depression. Like you don't have time to sit there and go, oh my God, I don't want to get out of bed. Right? Like, I mean, that's what I'm experiencing as well. Like you don't, because, and that's the thing, you're the one that creates this. If you're not busy, go and get busy. Go and do shit. Go and create shit. Like some people are out there waiting for it to come. You know, it'll come to me. Just wait for it. It's like, nah, man, if the opportunity doesn't come, go and create it. Right?
Yeah.
Dubai's not going to come to me. I have to go there. The environment is not just going to change around me because I'm just magically praying for it every day. I'm like, yes, you know, I'm hope that I wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to have like entrepreneurs that are 7-8 figure earners and they're going to be hanging around me all of a sudden, living at my place. You know, so get in the game. Like take that action. Get out there, create shit, try shit, right? If things don't work, try something else. If you don't know where to go, ask yourself some questions about what do you like? What do you want to do? What do you think you should do? Because even if you think you should do something, do that thing that you think you should do and then make a mistake on realizing that the fact that that's not what you want to do and that will lead you somewhere else. And that's what I've found is that it's not about it's just, even if you don't know, like I went with, and I'm telling you, I'm manifesting this, Mandy. One day I'm going to have my own gym. Okay.
I love it.
No, seriously, because that was the first thing that I was going to start to do back in 2018. I said, I'm going to Poland. I'm going to open a gym because I said, what do I love? And then 6 months later, I did the speaking program and I realized that I had a real passion for speaking. But I wouldn't have learned that had I not gone through the journey of trying to become a fitness coach, trainer, and entrepreneur, realizing that I had a fear of public speaking, or really what I realized is fear of public speaking is just a fear of being seen. A fear of people's opinions.
Yeah.
A fear of judgment. Right? And lack of confidence. Lack of confidence. Like what is the one key for success in business is communication. If you don't know how to talk, like there's that's so important as that aspect of it. And I learned that. And so what happened? I figured out that, wow, there's this something in me about speaking, right? So, and immediately, what happened to the gym? See ya. Right? It's still on Twitter though. It's called Red Fit Pump. That was the name. And so I'm sharing this because if you don't know where to go, you're not supposed to know. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. I just took action and I tried because I was focusing on something. I had a goal. I had something that I was working towards but I was only focusing on that, not focusing on 5 different things at the same time. And I feel like that's definitely something that a lot of people do is they're trying to bite off more than they can chew. They're trying to put the whole sandwich in their mouth, right? Not realizing that just, hey man, one bite at a time.
One bite.
So you can chew it, right? You're the one that told me, how do you eat an elephant? You did it, right?
One bite at a time.
You told me that 4 years ago. You said, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So putting yourself in the game leaves you with no choice but to show up, you know, even when you're feeling like shit. I have days where I'm not feeling the best. Do I still do my coaching? Do I still serve? Do I still show up on social media? And I know, let me ask you this about social media, because this is definitely something that you could probably relate. Marketing. If people are going to work with you, are they going to work with you because you look amazing, you look bright, your energy's great, you look happy, everything's going amazing, and you're posting that on social media? And so many people do this, Mandy. They go, social media is fake, right? But for the purpose of business, are people going to buy from you if you look sad?
No.
If you look like shit? If you're not taking care of yourself?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
I think social media, are there fake people? Yes. But the truth is, people are going to do business with you because they know that you're going to get them results. And if it's like, oh, it's a highlight reel. No, I still share if I feel sad or down. I still share that because it is part of who I am and my journey. There's people that choose not to share that. I want to share that. Why? Because it makes me more relatable. I'm a human. I fail. And, trying different things. And hey, you know what? I just realized I don't like that food, but you know what? I tried it anyway. And then whether it's something in business or something, I will go and share those failures because in the process, I learned something new. And in the process of all of these things, I've found things that light my soul on fire. And somebody trying something, like you said, try it. If it doesn't work, it's okay. Go try something else if you don't like that. But in the process, you're going to find what does light your soul on fire, where that little spark is. You're like, oh, you know what? I kind of really like that. And then that's where you follow that and pursue that. And then you might from there take a detour, and that's all okay. But I feel like it's our duty and responsibility to help people, to push people a little bit more towards their dreams than for settling for less than what they truly deserve in life.
Facts. It's true. That's right. Absolutely. This is part of the manifestation of what it is that you want. The failures, the things that you have to go through before you get what you deserve. And you have to earn it, right? It's something that, if I look back 5 years, I didn't know how I was going to get here. I didn't have a book that said, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? And everyone wants the answers. I don't know where to go. It's you don't need to know where you got to go. You just got to take action. As you go along the way will appear. And it will continue to appear. And as you go, there will be doors that will be unlocked continuously because of the people that you connect with, the people that you attract into your life because of who you become.
Along the way, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So in terms of the fear of public speaking and the fear of being seen and the lack of self-confidence and the lack of self-esteem and you being able to communicate, right? You just said that you came back from an event last night and I've seen you on stage. So has that been something that you have now conquered? When you get up on stage and you talk in front of people, do you feel like I'm owning this shit now? And how did you overcome that doubt, or if there was any fear at all?
There was lots of fear. And I'll even go to my very first competition, which before I competed and won my pro card, I did a competition here in Vegas. And I was so afraid to stand on the stage. Now, this was about 12 years ago. I was so afraid, Luke, to stand on the stage and be judged by people because literally I was in a fitness bikini competition. Guess what they're doing? They're judging my physique. I was so deathly afraid of being judged. And it paralyzed me that when it was my turn to step out and go walk out on stage, I literally felt like my feet were concreted to that step. I literally couldn't move. And the guy that called my name, he's like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "No." He's like, and he called my name and he pushed me out. And in all honesty, I'm grateful for that little push. And that's what started, for me, it was like, I need that extra little push because had I not had that little extra push, and literally it was just a gentle thing. It's like, yeah, go, it's your turn. And when I stepped out on that stage, I had no choice but to let go of the fear. Because if I didn't step on the stage, that fear would have taken over and controlled my life. And I can honestly say that was 12 years ago. I would not be standing and right here and talking so confidently. And it all started from that point when someone pushed me to go past that fear. It was like this curtain that was going to paralyze me. But I was going to allow it to. So that started, me standing on stage more and letting go of the fear of being judged. Even though I wasn't speaking, I was letting go of the fear of being judged. I had to. It is what it is. I put in the work. However I place is how I place. But then when it came to this industry and having the opportunity, it was actually the first time that we spoke on a big stage live with 1,000 people was during the lockdowns. It was in Dallas, Texas. And it was Sami and I, talking about discovering the diamond within you.
Mm.
And we wrote out the speech and everything. And I remember being in the back, like I was literally trembling, and I was like, had a knot in my throat, and I had, tears in my eyes because I was so afraid, because this was a different level of, for me, right? This was that next evolution of standing on a stage, because now it was speaking and sharing something. But I saw those steps, and what was so appropriate was I saw those steps, and it brought me back to, 2011 when I kind of had to be pushed to go out. And I saw those, and this time I took the step by choice. I took the step by choice through that fear. And I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. My mind literally went completely blank. I practiced, rehearsed for weeks. But when I stepped out on there, my mind went completely blank. And at that point, I knew I just had to trust that what was going to come out of my mouth was spoken through my soul and my heart, and just let go. And now I still get little butterflies in my stomach like I did this weekend, but I don't let that stop me. And I realized that now, and my husband and other people shared, and it was great feedback. I don't operate from the need for the feedback or recognition, but they said that was the best that I ever spoke was this past weekend. And it was, for me, a chance to look back and reflect on the growth, the breaking through those fears in order to get there. Because I used to be deathly terrified of it. And for me, it's allowed me to stand in that confidence and know I was speaking about gut health, something I'm so passionate about, right? I wasn't speaking, if you would have asked me to talk about, cars or something, I would have literally not known. But it was something that I was passionate about, and I could go there and speak with a different level of confidence than I did even a couple of years ago. But again, it takes practice, right? In order to get better at something, you got to practice, and you got to fail forward, and you got to mess up on your words, and you got to forget things. But I know that the next time is going to be even better. And my goal, I always set an intention before I step on the stage, even when my mind goes blank. What is my intention? And my intention is to serve and educate. My intention is to serve and educate. I'm not there to look at me. How can I be of service, and how can I educate people? And as long as I know that I go there with that intention, what comes out of my mouth, when I do speak, is going to be it's going to be perfect. Even for this, I didn't prepare for this. I just knew that I was going to speak what was on my heart. And I probably won't even remember half of the things that you and I talked about here, because it's coming from here and not from here. And that was another difference that I've learned. But for me, I'm so grateful that I had all those struggles and all those fears of being judged and stepping on stage, because that made me grow and discover strengths that I never knew I had.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you ever get bullied or called names or anything like that when you were younger?
Yes. So you haven't got to meet me in person. I have really muscular calves. Okay. I have really muscular calves. It's a hereditary thing. My mom and my dad both have them. I was also a ballet dancer for many years when I was growing up. But I remember being in like third grade. So I was probably about 8 years old. I'm trying to think of like what grade third grade is. Maybe 9 years old. And I went to Catholic school where I had to wear like a skirt and a button-up white collared shirt. And I remember this guy, and his name was Barrett, and I've never seen him ever since. But he was one that used to tease me every single day walking to the bus, and he would call me Popeye Legs. Oh, Popeye girl. Oh, Popeye legs. And I grew up being so self-conscious of my legs. So self-conscious until I was like in my late teens, maybe early 20s. And then I realized like people would be like, wow, you have beautiful calves. Do you ever work them out? I'm like, no, I never work out my calves because I never wanted them to grow any bigger, but I used to be called names about my legs, my muscular legs. And it used to make me cry. But it was finally in my 20s when I started owning it. And now I wish I knew, where that guy was, because I would just say, you know what? Thank you. Thanks for making fun of me. Thanks for it. Because now, I own them, and I've learned to take ownership. And you said, own your greatness. And it is, it's like, I own those legs, they're mine. They were gifted to me. I've worked for them, but still like, I remember crying so many times because I would get made fun of. And you know what? Like, I think we all do, but it's how do I find strength in that? Instead of being victim to it, how do I find the strength in that? What can I take away from this? And that's kind of where I've gone with that. But yeah, Popeye Legs used to be my nickname, which was really terrible.
Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for being vulnerable enough to open up about that, because it's very relatable. And one of the reasons why I asked you that question is because I feel like a lot of our drive and our why and our purpose and our success comes from that pain, emotional pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why like, if you have gone through being bullied or something that's really hurtful, right, that you want to transmute that into your purpose, into your success. 100%. You want to be motivated by it. And so, yeah, I look back at all my experiences of how I was name called or bullied or whatever, and I'm grateful for all of it. I'm grateful for it because it's helped me to become the person that I am today. And I'm not going to be victimized by it. I'm just going to own it and appreciate and accept myself, right? That's a major key that I learned recently. It was not just about self-love and putting yourself first and really loving yourself, but it's accepting yourself fully,
Yeah, embracing all of it, flaws and all. Like I'm not perfect by any means. I don't want to be. I don't want to be. And turning that pain into purpose is it's so powerful. And we all go through things. And I truly believe with every ounce of my being that life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us. But so many people look at it as life. Oh, this happened to me, and woe is me. And they get stuck in that low vibration, negative spiral of decay. And it doesn't serve people living down here. It doesn't serve them. But if you shift it to that happened for me, what is the gift in it? What can I take away? How can I use this to become better or stronger or smarter or faster or more powerful? It's happened to me. I'm sorry, it happened for me, not to me. It happened for me, not to me. All of it, every bad thing or anything in my life, it all happened for my greater good and to make me become and step into the person that I was meant to become. But I had to go through that to find her.
Absolutely. I think the hardest part, Mandy, is that if you've been through some sort of physical abuse or sexual abuse, someone can be listening to this going, how is that happening for me? Right? Yeah. And because it's not something that you would wish upon anybody. You know what I mean? Or a death maybe. But in overcoming, processing the trauma, processing the pain, addressing it, healing it, that's where you create your gift. Because then what happens? There's people out there that are also going through what you have been through. And because you have the courage to say yes to you and not be victimized by what happened, you now have the power to be able to, be that lighthouse for others that are hurting.
Yeah, even in the darkest of times. Like, one of my childhood friends, bless her heart, she lost her daughter to an accidental drug overdose. And it was such a tough thing. But now what she's done is she's turned that into a purpose, to go and lobby in Washington. She's gone to really help other people who have gone through what she's gone through and possibly prevent what happened. Like another friend lost her son, like 8 months ago. And I can't even imagine the pain that they've had to go through. But as a result, they are, he was almost 9 years old and he had his own charity before he passed away. And she is using his charity and his, what he started in his vision to go and help other kids. To me, it's like, yes, that stuff is crappy. It's shitty when stuff like that happens. But what is the silver lining? Or how can you use this to help other people who are going through what you went through, and how can we're here to make the world a better place. So how can we take those and find the gifts and look at it through a different set of glasses so that we can find that silver lining and then be able to help other people and find that purpose in the process.
Absolutely amazing. You're amazing, Mandy, just in case you forgot.
Thanks, Luke. You are too.
Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing what you've shared. And, I always emphasize how precious time is. You can't go to a supermarket and go to aisle number 17 and buy the last 12 months of your life because you've wasted it. And so I always emphasize to be intentional with the time that you have and what are you doing? What are you doing with your time? So to spend the time that I've spent with you today, knowing how busy your schedule is and the things that you're doing in your life and priorities that you have, I really, really appreciate your energy and your wisdom and everything that you've shared with us. And I know that everybody who's listening is very inspired by your story, by your confidence, by everything that you've shared. So thank you so much. And I'm wondering if you could share with us, how can people get in touch with you? Where do they follow you? Do you have a website?
Thank you so much. And I just want to say thank you for your time. I'm honored that we get to reconnect and share so much of our journey, especially over the last 4 years that we haven't got this time together. So time is everything, and it's something we can't get back, which is why I'm so passionate about helping people with their health and their gut health, because I want longevity and for everyone, right? Longevity and quality of life for people. But thank you again for your time and for inviting me on here. And I look forward to all of the lives that we get to impact together, whether it's through this message, or through other things. And thank you, Luke. I really appreciate you. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram. My name is Mandy White Eskelin, and I have an amazing husband from Finland, but my brand was Mandy White. So we said, you know what, we're just going to keep it as Mandy White Eskelin. And please message me if you saw this and there is something that related. I would love to connect with you. I just love connecting with other human beings and, maybe offering some support or some wisdom or some guidance and some love. And sometimes people just need to be heard. So, if you're listening to this, please feel free to reach out to me. And thank you again, Luke, for having me as a guest on here.
You're welcome. You know what it felt like when you first came on today? And Sami came and said hello as well. It was as if we just spoke yesterday. It's been 4 years, you know what I mean? And that's why it's so, when you connect with people on your journey, I really believe that the right people in your life, you cannot talk to them for 5 or 6 or 7 years because you're just doing your thing. It's nothing personal. But then when you do reconnect with them, it's like you just start from where you left off, and it's just such a peaceful synergy. There's no tension or anything. It's like we're a family, it's really cool.
We are connected. So it doesn't matter the length of time, but we are connected. So thank you so much again, Luke.
You're welcome. I just want to ask you one quick question before we finish up. If you could do one thing to change the world, what is it? What's that one thing that you would do?
Help people see that anything is truly possible, even if they don't believe it themselves. Borrow someone else's belief, because we were meant to do big things here. And sometimes we have to borrow someone else's belief in us until it becomes our own. Anything is possible. And borrow my belief in you. Borrow my belief in your dreams, even if you don't quite believe in them or have that belief in yourself.
Powerful. Thank you, Mandy. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-discovery and growth. If you're ready to grow and reach your full potential and find inner peace, send me a DM that says, I want inner peace, and I'll send you the next steps. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to. When you change your mind, you change your whole life. So don't hesitate and send that DM over to me. Myself and my team can't wait to meet you and witness your transformation in full glory. See you next week.